Hello, everybody, and welcome in to an emo edition of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing 2024's The Crow and answering the resounding question that we got from social media, which is, why? You've been listening this long. Why do you have to ask? But we'll get to that in a little bit. Joining me first up from Manhattan, New York City. He's got like a Popeye vibe tonight. Please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Bing, 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 bing.
Minus the muscles.
What is the noise
yes.
Popeye makes when his muscle does? It's like...
Boing.
Yeah. Boing.
Next up from Indiana. Please welcome Casey.
Hello.
And last up tonight from the Bay Area of San Francisco. Please welcome Rachel to the show.
I'm
in her
back.
finest vintage hat.
There we go. Put some respect on it.
Is that a fez, technically?
No, it's
No, I guess not.
no. I mean, fezzes are a little bit smaller, and it's I can't think of what it's called now, but it'll come to me in an opportune time.
When you wear
during
a
the
hat,
show.
forgive me my ignorance, please.
That's
when
not
you
a
wear a
pillbox,
hat
right?
like that, do you like pin it on?
Pillbox. Yeah, I'll show you the apparatus if you would like. There is a comb inside.
Oh.
Oh,
Whoa.
yeah, there you go. Yep.
Weird.
That I hand sew into every one of my hundreds of hats.
Oh, nice.
And then
It
how
doesn't
does
come
that,
with the comb already there? Like, what do they assume you're doing
Is
with,
that a
to
thing
get
you
that hat on
invented?
your head?
Hairpins.
I mean, I don't know. I think some of them have elastic straps. A lot of people used to use like old-fashioned hat pins. I can pull some out to display
Like a
them
strap
for you
under
if you
your
would like to see.
chin?
No, it
Like a
goes
chin
behind under
strap?
the hair. It goes under the hair.
Oh.
But
Oh,
I find that a comb is the best solution for all of you folks out there. Don't let your hat get blown away, whether
Fascinating.
you are.
And how does
especially
this
if you're
work?
a yachty like.
How does this
John
work
Snow.
with the spider bonnet?
I mean, I don't wear them typically at
Oh
the
my
same
God.
time,
She
but
doesn't wear it to sleep.
No, Rachel.
What?
So
What?
I was
oh no, this feels
making my
arachnid.
daughter's bed the other day and cleaning her room, and there was like
No,
beefy spider in her bed.
No.
They weren't here yet, and I got it and I killed it. But then I killed it and I threw it in the toilet and I forgot to flush. So later when they were here, she was like, "Daddy, did you kill a spider? There's a spider." And I was like, "Oh, yep, nothing to see here. It was outside. I brought it in. Everything's fine."
I stepped out on the way in and I felt bad.
Oh my God.
Oh,
it
no.
was-
oh, you did a service. You did the good thing. That thing would have bred. There would have been. You saved the world thousands of spiders. Thank you for your
Oh,
service.
there's
You are a
definite
patriot.
Spider breeding happening in and
No.
around us, I hate to tell you.
Hey,
So you
before we
guys-
wander off, I want to put out there into the universe BGH fezzes.
Hey, I do actually have a fez. I could go get it if you want.
I've always wanted
Take your
one. A
word for
BGH
it.
one would be perfect.
Take your word for it. That was
Are you
classic
no-oring
John.
my
I-
hats?
I believe
I'll
you.
take
Just
your
no-worded
word
a
for it.
fez. I feel like that's like it's. Yeah, I don't know. Problematic.
We're good here.
What's so good about John's note worrying is that it's just such a deep part of his personality. He doesn't understand that he's doing it. That's my favorite part of it.
I'm mostly just trying to move the show along. Let's just be clear.
Oh Lord. All right then.
Yeah.
John says it's time to move on, and since he hosts the show, let's do it.
Yup.
Let's take a quick break and review The Crow.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Got the prime time. Main feature.
I had a whole topic to discuss during this section. I don't remember what it was. So
Well, there was the thing you asked me to read the news story about. Was that it?
Oh,
do
yeah.
you think the villain in this movie was based off of Diddy? And was the only thing this movie was missing was a shot of a room just filled with jars of lube? Please tell me you
Dude.
guys saw that picture.
I didn't see the picture, but
It's the FBI agents
yeah.
in a room with a like glass, like shelves, wall, ceiling to floor, covered in like, I don't know, 64-ounce bottles of lube, basically.
Oh, yeah.
He had like a lube room, John.
I mean,
Do you have one of those at the chalet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We hadn't considered that in the sort of order of upgrades.
And if you're gonna buy
you know.
that much, don't they? Wasn't there that joke a couple years ago that they sell like 55-gallon drums of it on Amazon? Like, why not just go there? I guess that's not as classy. Hand,
You could
Not
just
for the
like
chalet.
hand in a drum, like
buy the machine
so-
that makes the lube.
I have, yeah, like buy yourself a lube
I'm gonna start
press.
manufacturing my own lube.
I just have so many questions that I assume we're gonna find out now that he's been arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I didn't
rough
know
stuff.
this, John. He apparently this time last year was given a key to the city.
Oh Lord.
In New York.
Yeah, to New York, which is kind of incredible.
Wow. I mean, that's like the list of shit that the Adams administration has done. That's like not even in the top 50 at this point.
Can I get, when we'll move on, John, can I get a ruling from you as a hip hop expert on whether or not, Rachel, on whether or not Diddy had Tupac killed? Because that's what I was reading a lot about online today. People were like, "Oh, he fucking did it."
So I'm a no, but like I don't have like super specialized knowledge. I have like read / listened to podcasts about the Biggie Tupac, you know, like whatever. There was the whole, it was like a year ago. I feel like there was like a bunch of, where they did a TV show maybe and that generated, wasn't there like one of those American story, you know, they do the like
Tupac
OJ
died a
one.
few years ago.
No, they
No,
did
I
like a
can't
TV show, like a mini series about it. I thought. In any event, I
can't tell if that was a dad joke or
It was.
Okay. All right, John. So
Yes.
a resounding.
Yeah, maybe. Probably
Thank
not.
you for that. Please bring us the word of the day.
Gonna be a long night.
Guys, I'm actually really excited for today's word, because today's word is psychopomp. Psychopomp. That's
Ooh.
PSYCHOPOMP. Psychopomp. In Greek mythology, a guide of souls to the place of the dead. It can also be the spiritual guide of a living person's soul. Psychopomp. It comes to us from the Greek suke, I don't know, which means soul, and then pompos, which means conductor. And that eventually becomes the English word psychopomp.
Wild.
That's wild. For
Who knew?
just by choosing that definition tonight and reading it, you've put more thought into that character than the making. John, tell us about The Crow.
So it's like where to start here, because this movie, I had the experience while watching this movie of feeling like I was living through the development process of this movie. Did anyone else have that experience?
It feels very
Like-
half-baked.
Well, I feel like it feels like everyone was sitting around saying, "We've got this IP rights to The Crow. We gotta make another Crow movie. Like, why wouldn't you do that?" And the answer is because The Crow hasn't really been a thing since like 1995. Like not in like a
Dude, yeah, but nobody
mainstream
gives
cultural
a
way.
shit anymore. It's just if it's IP, and they're like, "Fuck it, let's."
But
just
no.
turn it on.
That is like we are moving beyond that time.
I know
that
we
was
are,
a
but
time.
dude, we waved goodbye to the logic you're seeking years ago.
No, but I guess I'm actually disagreeing with you. Like I actually think we've like moved past the universe where like random IP shit was like worth something. Like nowadays, like, but this
We're
is
in
this.
postmodernism.
Yeah,
now, is
well,
that what you're
okay, so
saying? No, John. We're on the same side.
the comic. So I was doing a little research because I was curious. The comic is 1989. The original run is like 40
What
issues
is it with
or
this?
something.
This shirt has turned you into a different person, John. I don't even.
I don't
what
know,
I'm talking to
man.
tonight.
I don't know what to tell you. The movie is 94. They then made 4 sequels, apparently.
One of them with Eddie Furlong.
Right, I was gonna say none of them could have had
No,
Brandon Lee.
well, no. That I mean, that's whatever. We can get into that. Like that, I do think is like an important part of the story.
Wasn't there a
But,
TV show too? I'm pretty sure there was a TV show.
Interesting. I didn't know that. But I'm sure there
Short-lived
was something.
One,
Yeah.
I think you have to say short-lived before Yeah.
Brandon
But
Lee?
no, that's mean. So they started rebooting this in 2013. It is 2024.
I've lived like 3 lives since then.
Well, and it had been through like whatever. You can go on Wikipedia and they'll give you the full development rundown, but it's like Casey has to reboot, he just said. So it is like 6 different directors, 5 different people were supposed to play Eric, the main character Eric, we should, just acknowledge.
I
Great
rarely get a main
character
character name
No,
named after me. It's
I
not a
agree.
popular name.
They kept saying Eric,
Eric
and I was
Draven
like, what?
is iconic. Come on now.
I have a friend whose son,
Yeah.
like 5-year-old son, is named Eric, and whenever we're around, she yells at him in the mom voice, and I go, ugh, like it. gives me the
Triggered.
heebie-jeebies.
So that's the background here. This movie, oh God, which one of the Skarsgårds is in it?
The young one, I don't know which one that is.
Bill.
Is that Bill?
Bill,
Yeah.
he's the one who played Pennywise, right?
Yep.
So it's Bill Skarsgård. You then have, do you say FKA? Like you just say
Yeah.
FKA Twigs? That's like, I mean, I know who she is as a recording artist, but
And as our resident rap expert, you would
Wait, did
know.
she direct
Yeah, no,
this? Is
we're-
that what you just said?
no. She's the other like co-star.
Oh,
FKA Twigs.
okay.
No, so I should have said, you're
yeah,
right.
I'm mildly aware of who that is.
Director Rupert Sanders. I had seen, he did Snow White and the Huntsman, which I believe we reviewed on this here podcast.
This is what I know about FKA Twigs, really quick. She's like she makes horny music.
Pretty
Yeah.
horny, yeah.
And isn't she the one who accused Shia LaBeouf of like domestic violence or something?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I know about her.
well, he's happily married now, so it's fine.
To a lunatic.
Hopefully Mia Goth's kicking him in the head.
Somebody's stepping on somebody's something in that house. I'm just saying.
I would say the other relevant movie that this guy directed is Ghost in the Shell, when they did that sort of like ill-advised live action one. So that's his
took me
background.
It took me a long time to figure out what I knew him from. I was like looking at his IMDb, but I was like, the name. And then I realized like, this is the one that like K-Stu cheated on Robert Pattinson with and blew up that whole relationship.
Wait,
It
with
was
the
Rupert-
director?
Yes. This is the one that she was photographed making out with and then like was like, fuck this, I'm a lesbian now. Yeah.
I mean,
Took me,
he's handsome.
Yeah. And then because FK Twigs also dated Robert Pattinson, I immediately was like looking at the timeline. I was like, is this guy just like collecting all of his exes? What's happening? But the crossover was not there. So conspiracy
It's a crazy
thwarted.
stew out there. I can't keep up, but so yeah, Rupert
I need Casey
Sanders.
back. I'm just getting no word right and left here. I need some Casey back. Where's my ally? Get him on
I was
here.
acknowledging that there's shenanigans going on out there in Hollywood, and just continuing to talk about the movie, The Crow. So the plot here is fairly straightforward, which is that you have Eric, our hero, and then you have Shelley.
Life imitating art.
They are imprisoned in what is this place they are?
Rehab.
Like,
But
he
it's
like
says
a
he
lock-in
calls it a
rehab.
rehab at some point.
Yeah.
Rehab with like razor wire outside.
Yeah, and like where you're not allowed to leave in any event. But and they're like wearing jumpsuits. Okay, so they meet each other at rehab. They fall into like just one of the most catastrophic love affair scenarios you can imagine. Like,
You forgot about his horse died once, and he's sad
yeah,
about
I did forget about
it. He's still sad about it.
that's characterization there, my friend. That is just character building.
Yeah.
The horse.
Metaphor.
It was a white horse.
Metaphor.
It was white. Yeah.
Alert.
When you
Was he
see a
Rob
white horse, like
Zombie?
there's like 5 white horses, so when you see one, it's like, oh, something's up with this. So he and Shelley fall in love, like very deeply and passionately and aggressively, one might say. She has a dark secret, which is that she played the piano for like the devil's minion or something.
How does this sound even more ridiculous coming out of your
That
mouth?
wasn't even a joke. That's like really what was happening.
The devil's minion or
I
something?
This is like the big bad here is Vincent Rogue. He is a demonic crime lord, according to Wikipedia. But his like thing is that he can like talk to people in like parcel tongue, basically, like a weird
I'm not going to make this
language, and they then commit crimes. Like they either can kill themselves.
his superpower is like creepy tongue talking in ear.
Yes, yeah,
That's what he does. That's a scary.
which on the
he
list
goes,
of powers,
he gets right up. He like grabs him. And he's like he just like motorboats their ear for a second. They're all scared. It's really off-putting.
But then they do bad stuff, and that allows him to not go to hell because they're going to hell now.
Well, they've been seduced by the motorboating.
That's how it
would
works.
get
Not to
you.
be. Yeah.
It would get you. I turned the volume down just because I was concerned for myself. But
Too erotic.
yeah, or I might start stabbing. Okay, so she this is in what I would propose is the most absurd part of this movie. She has a video on her phone that this like super old powerful demonic crime lord is concerned is going to be like a problem for him.
It allowed him as being a demonic crime lord. Or
Yeah,
something.
like
Yeah.
And well, God, like how
Especially
there's
when you
been
see
no
what's
video.
on
5 minutes
it.
into this movie, I pulled the Wikipedia up so I could read along with it, so I could follow it.
So she has this video. Basically, that is then the setup for them to kill her in front of Eric. They also kill Eric, but he doesn't go to hell or heaven, presumably. He goes to the other place.
Heck.
Nice. And
Limbo, which is like one bridge and some garbage.
yeah, he meets I don't know what this guy's name is. Kronos. Yeah, Kronos. Who informs him that he is being given the chance because of pure love to set to win his lost love back by killing the demonic crime lord. And he has superpowers now. That's it.
Sort of. Like, yeah.
No, well, his superpower is he can't be killed.
He can't.
Which is
yeah,
pretty good as
It's
powers
like
go.
Deadpool style healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Rachel, what'd you think? And are you a fan of the original? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a child of the 90s. Of course I saw it. And I kind of joked in our group chat that I'm afraid to go back and watch it, especially after seeing this, because I'm worried so much of the positive sort of association I have with it is about the fact that I saw it when I was like 16, and I'm not sure that it would hold up, but what are you going to do? Okay. So I think this movie is definitely going to get like excoriated tonight, and rightly so. So I'm just going to try to say some positive things about it because I do think that there are a handful of things about it that I did enjoy. I appreciate that it tried to differentiate itself from the original film, particularly with the big bad thing. I mean, it's absurd as you describe it, but like an attempt was made to do something different. And
Was
I do
there
think
no
that
big bad in the first one?
there is, but he's just sort of like a street level crime lord who's
He's not
kicking them
actually
out of their
demonic.
apartment.
Does,
Like he's a landlord. He's
does
like a
this
scummy
largely
landlord.
follow the story of the original or no?
No,
never seen it.
0%. Oh, you've never seen it?
Never, no.
Oh, I mean, I haven't seen it legitimately since 1995, probably, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same.
they are both they're I mean, at least the central piece of like girlfriend dies and he becomes like a superhero. That's like the canon,
yeah,
I believe. And then like
Yeah.
who he's fighting, that's
Yeah.
and there's just not like there aren't stages of crowdom. You're either alive or you're a crow. Like there's not the there's yeah, this thing with whatever. We'll get into it.
crows.
I'm trying to be positive. So like Danny Houston is an actor I really like. Anytime I see him, I'm delighted, especially when he's in a villainous role. I don't know that they totally took advantage of that in this, but you know, good choice in casting.
I feel like he's like you hire him if you would have preferred Ray Wise, but he's too old now.
Oh my god, Ray Wise would have been great in this because it would have like brought
they
some
look just-
camp and humor to
They
it.
look exactly alike, just like 20 years age difference.
Oh man, that's actually a great call. So the thing that I think is good about this is that the action is actually fairly decent when we get it. It's really gory. There's some fun kills in this, like some pretty gruesome, unflinching stuff. And I think that Bill Skarsgård, because he's like a big kind of hulking sort, well, not hulking, he's quite slender, but like he's
I was
a
gonna
big
say he's pretty
physical,
skinny. I
and
kept
he really
wanting
kind
him
of gives.
to eat a sandwich.
I'm gonna
I'm
keep
sorry.
it PG. So
Don't do it on our thing.
You can give your opinions.
I mean, like even in Die Antwoord cosplay, he could get it, but like.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I was
like
like,
I
"All right."
think there's a version of this that is like a full The Raid style John Wick type of thing where it's just one prolonged action scene, and I would be so into this movie. The
John Wick
problem
was
is
exactly the movie I thought about. Yeah.
the problem is every single time it's not an action scene, this movie is just so dull. There's no like chemistry, let alone logic to the relationship that this pivots around. And the whole like process and length of time it takes him to go full crow is really patience testing. It's way too long. And it's a shame because you can see that there's something there, particularly in the casting of Bill Skarsgård, that could have been pretty great. But overall, it's just kind of a slog. Just kind of a
Yeah.
slog.
Wasn't he just in a movie where he also like murders a bunch of people, John Wick style?
Yep.
Yeah, that
What was that
Casey,
called?
you watched it, right?
Boy Kills World.
Was that good?
Yeah, it was decent.
Better than this?
And I honestly think he probably filmed it right before or after this.
Interesting. All right, Casey, what do you think about this? And are you a fan of the Crow?
I saw the original Crow when it came out. It never grabbed me. I was not that type of spooky kid back in the day. That and I was out of college, or I was in college at that point, I think. So it didn't really grab me.
I think that's what it was for me. I wasn't goth. It wasn't my kind of dark, I think. So I just
Yeah.
wasn't drawn to it.
Yeah, in today's parlance, for my old guy senses, there's
No
a lot of
offense to any
emo.
goths in the chat. So,
Yeah,
or the video.
there's a lot of emo to this. This comes across very emo, which to me, after a while, I mean, I could be a romantic guy. I love my wife, but after a while, you just kind of got to roll your eyes. And I think everything Rachel's saying is pretty spot on. I enjoyed the fight scenes when Bill Skarsgård went ham with the ninja sword. Why he chose a ninja sword or why was it laying in the apartment, I don't know. I liked it, and I liked his look when he's doing his thing. I like those action scenes. There was a scene when he showed up at that opera with one of the guards came down the stairs and had grabbed his sword and was holding onto it to stop him, and he pushed it back in his mouth. I was like, fuck yeah. That's awesome. Everything else in between there is, like Rachel said, it's a slog. And I'm going to be honest, I was not convinced at all that those two's relationship was, happy or universal love or something like that. It felt like the way it was presented to us, they spent about 2 days with each other, had a good time, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm in love," and running off. I believe in love at first sight, but that seemed a lot. You know what I mean? To go into the underworld and have Kronos say, "Well, you love her so much, you can go back." Since you were in love for those 2 days. But yeah, and then the other changes too, that they wait so long to turn him into the full crow, it loses something. Like Rachel said, it's weird. It's kind of disjarring, especially if you know the original movie. Because you want to get to the good stuff. And then once we get him to fully transform, because they put that other scene at the opera in beforehand, it kind of loses its impact.
Do they
you've already seen him do this once, and so what's the point of the extra makeup?
Do they make you wait in the original for like the whole movie to get like...
No.
Yeah,
Crow?
about half.
No.
Yeah.
Not even half. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
not half, is it?
It's like this thing, the revenge plot.
Three-quarters of it.
That's what this needed. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, how a movie in 1994 moves.
And he
faster
goes
than
straight to
this is amazing.
supernatural superhero at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
John,
just, yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel identically, or very similarly. My favorite kill, just to get it out right off the top, was when the sword is like sticking through his body and he like falls back on a dude. And then I think there's another guy that he like intentionally kind of like either
Yeah.
twists into or something.
He shoots someone through himself, too.
When he shot
That was
himself
really
through the
good.
chest.
See,
No,
this
there was-
is why it's so frustrating.
the opera scene, like as a 10-minute discrete like piece of cinema, is fucking wild. Like
Pretty
if
fun.
anything, it was like too violent. Like I was like, holy
No.
shit,
I was so happy to see violence after how bored
so
I was.
wild. Even some of the other action, I was like okay with, but it didn't like. I think you're just like happy anything's happening on screen when he's like using the shotgun to like take out those like low level criminals.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like anything that kind of whatever. It didn't rise to the level of like John Wick or anything. That opera sequence does.
Yeah.
The rest of this movie, I mean, it is like so absurd. And I was already joking about it. I mean, Casey, I'm glad you brought it up. I didn't buy the relationship. Like, it was like super intense, like lustful relationship. And they are both like, and I guess intentionally, very broken people. Just like really broken people.
It's like an addict relation. I mean, it's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, if there was like a thing to say about redemption for him as an addict and like for like,
right.
it didn't seem to do that though.
There's no. That's such an interesting point. There's no like aspiration on either one of their parts for the love to lead to some type of like
no.
growth or healing, or they're just like, hey, let's like do.
No,
drugs
they're
and
literally
do shit
at
and
before
be
they get
inseparable
killed.
and
He's like, "Let's
codependent."
just get out of here." It's like, where are we gonna get money? Who fucking knows?
He's like, we could live like this forever when they're swimming. He's like, okay, bro.
but like,
I don't know
live
if we
like
can.
what? I was like, how are they even paying for this
Live like
apartment?
what?
Like, neither of them have jobs. Like,
Well,
They
they
don't even
were
have
in
a
her
fiscal plan
friend's-
for the first year.
They were squatting in her rich friend's apartment who was out of the country, and then I
Yeah.
assume they stole the money from the safe
Yeah.
that you see him pull out at some point.
She also comes from money, so she probably has something.
oh, is that
that.
okay? I didn't even like clock that. I
Well,
guess
'cause,
because her
yeah.
mom is like a famous musician, and then
Well,
she
I think she made a deal with the devil, right? And like trafficked her daughter.
well and sold her daughter. Yeah, totally.
That by the time they
Oh.
were revealing all that stuff, I feel like I was like not fully there anymore. But
Yeah.
figured
I forgot
Weird
all
thing
about
for me
that
to
angle.
say, but I think it was a mistake for them to try to make us care about Shelley. Like, I normally I want to care more about the woman in the movie, but I think it just it does not work.
Yeah.
And it takes up all this time,
Well-
and it forces you to tries to pin your emotional connection to this relationship that you watch form. So when there's nothing there, it feels empty. The original Crow, they're like, we're so in love, she dies, and then
Yeah.
you believe that he loves her because he
So
goes on a
that's are you
rampage.
done, John, or are you still?
Well, I mean, I think to Rachel's point, they had / got FKA Twigs, and it was like, that's a big get. It's like a moment for her. There was a lot of press around her being in this movie, and she's fine. Like I thought all of the acting was very stiff. Like even Skarsgård is like borderline unwatchable in a lot of the scenes. He's great to look at. Like I'm not.
he's great when it gets murdery. The rest of the time, he's not giving me the Skarsgård energy that I.
But it's
enjoy
like
from him.
this pouty emo vibe for a lot of it that just like does not
Which
pull you in.
is fine if that's how you want the character to be, but not when you make me wait the whole movie to see the crow grow.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah,
So,
I'm done. You can keep.
I would like to point out, just because it's more evidence for my theory, that this
the
is
runtime.
an hour 50, which, as I've dubbed it, is the
Cursed.
devil's runtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cursed.
It basically usually means you've got a problem somewhere in your structure where it's either basically it's like you're trying to do a typical 3-act 90-minute structure, but you've got a bunch of appendages and shit that need to just be lopped off. In this film, you probably could get to an hour 30 if you only cut out all the random flashbacks that characters have in this fucking movie. his horse is dead. His girlfriend's dead. She's drowning. She's dead again. Nope, now she's a ghost. She's just appearing. Now his horse is dead again. He's sad. He's doing drugs. Like, flash, flash, flash. It's like every 5 fucking seconds, and it happens again at the end. It keeps happening, and they keep getting longer. He flashes to what the guide tells him. Holy
It's like, did we
fuck.
forget this? We just saw it 15
And
minutes ago in movie
it
time.
all is, I feel like, it's like protesting too much. It's all in service of like I think that they knew that they had a deep problem with not caring about this romance with the characters. And I feel like they went back in post and added all those fucking flashbacks to try to just do what they could to like hammer it home when that's not really the problem. And I was thinking of John Wick as well. Not only because you're just fucking waiting for him to murder someone, but I was thinking about it because there's such a pure simplicity to that first film where you spend, no lie, maybe 5 minutes getting his relationship with his wife, his relationship with the dog, all the context you need. The dog dies, you're fucking in. You're like, let's go. Let's murder some motherfuckers.
So I've watched it recently. It's a little longer than that, but you're right
it's
that
not
there's
an hour.
action. No, totally.
And
No, it's
I
maybe
feel
15 minutes.
I feel like with sharp, precise screenwriting and really good directing, you could make a relationship that pulls on something with the audience that makes you care. But it doesn't. It's really not about the amount of screen time you give it, and that's where I feel like they made the mistake here, is trying to overcompensate for the story not really being there by just giving the relationship so much time.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's 35 minutes or something before she even dies. And then it's another 30 minutes before he undergoes the transformation into what you want him to be, which is like the kick-ass crow superhero.
But the point is, like, you wouldn't be able to get an actress to take that role if it's like not a name actress. If it's just
That's
like, hey,
fine.
you're gonna be
I'm
dead
just telling you
within
how to make the
20
movie better,
seconds.
John. I'm not here
No,
to solve the
I
personal
agree with
problems.
you. The other thing,
So-
really quick, but like the lineage of this movie is that it was a comic book and it's a superhero. He is basically like a dark superhero that like a guy. I was reading briefly. The guy invented him after his wife was killed by a drunk driver.
Wow.
So it's like comes from like a pretty dark place. But it is still a superhero story, and they wanted this. I think the reason you were sort of going to John Wick, they wanted this to be an action movie, but they don't put the action in.
It's not
And
an action.
They
yeah.
leave all the
I
superhero
wonder
bullshit.
I wonder too if maybe they didn't even have the budget to do the action properly, so they really backloaded it. But the other
They
thing
had
is,
budget
like,
for bad crow
But I did think
CGI.
about this. Like in 2024, just my appetite for an origin story is so thin.
0.
Like,
yeah.
so if you're gonna do it, you got to expedite it. You got to get it out of the way. You got to have like a larger, But then, of course, but I also understand that creates a problem because here it's really like, The Crow has never been done. Well, maybe that's what the sequels were, right? Is him doing more generic superhero-y type stuff and getting involved in like other people's stories. Like that's really,
I honestly don't even remember.
I think they're all new crows.
you almost need more
every
of
woman.
that to flesh it out, right? Like, yes, and it just makes me think of like Batman, the Nolan Batman films. Like, there's this whole wider world that he's now involved in with Falcone and the DA and Gordon and obviously that stuff is all like long time Batman canon, but there's not enough here. There's not enough meat on the bone. You just want to see him kill people, and they make you wait an hour and 20 minutes at least to see that. I'm with you guys. I love that scene where he rolls into the opera and just starts fucking murking people. It's
Yeah.
pretty sick. He's shirtless with the jacket on. There's spew like covered in blood. I'm not a
looks
fan of the
cool.
mullet, but that's my millennialness. Not like I would refuse to accept that the mullet has like returned to the Zeitgeist. I just don't like it. But
It's like every 10 years it has a cycle.
that stuff
I
is
feel
great. But my God, it's just so cheesy. And I feel like the moment that truly brought it home, I texted you guys about this earlier. I actually got to look it up because I got to look at the one. So at the end, he basically what we find out is that what the fuck is that guy?
Kronos.
Kronos. He it's like there's stages of becoming the crow. It's like at first he kind of brings him back, but he's immortal, but he's not full crow yet. But why he wouldn't have just offered him that deal in the first place, who the fuck knows? But it's not until he goes back and he kind of actually gets killed, even though he was not supposed to be killable. He goes back to the limbo, and Kronos is like, well, you can trade your soul basically to be super invincible, awesome crow man, but then you can't come back. Like, that's the deal. The original deal was that he could come back, right? If he
Well,
killed the
Eric,
guy.
you're forgetting the part where the reason he gets killed is because he allows the opposite of love to creep into his heart.
Well, that's my point. So what he says to him is,
He doubted his twigs.
he said, the enemy of love is not hate, it's doubt. Here's what I love about that. First of all, the saying is the opposite of love, not the enemy. Saying the enemy completely changes the meaning of it. The enemy of love is not hate.
You're gonna
so
get
hate
there.
is fine. It's doubt. You can't doubt, John, or you're attacking love.
Yep.
Holy shit. I like blacked out for I don't know what happened in the next 5 minutes of the movie, because I just was like, there was just like an algebra equation floating over my head of me trying to figure out what the fuck that means. Jesus Christ. But it's such a good microcosm of like the kind of, it's like series dumb. It's like so grim, but in a dumb way that just makes it so silly.
it's
It's
also
silly
like-
dumb. It's silly grim. It's grim silly.
It is like a childhood conception of love too. Like,
Yeah, totally.
Look,
well,
we're-
right. And I think
we've all
that's
been
part
in
of the
long-term
problem
relationships.
is
It's
like
like, you don't-
presenting this super unhealthy codependent relationship. I'm not saying that every movie relationship has to be like healthy, but there's ways to give like the audience ins to relate to it a little more. It's wholly unrelatable, which I think is part of the problem that like, I don't know.
I was just so baffled that they let men and women like roll up into each other's like rooms at this
I do realize
fake
the
prison.
hilarity of like me, like I fully related to the relationship in what was that movie, Rachel, with
Love Lies Bleeding.
yes, Love Lies Bleeding.
I knew.
But maybe
I
it's
knew where you were
literally
going.
just a difference in the writing being good. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they're also much more complicated people with complicated levels.
They're the fully drawn out people.
Yes, like they're
Neither of them had a horse that we ever got to see in that movie, which
That
was
is
a
true.
miss. But
Ed Harris
but I-
definitely
extended
shot a
scenes.
horse before its time at some point in that movie in his life.
Yeah. I mean, there's a messiness and a humanity to those characters that is just
Yeah.
a costume in this, you know? Like
Right,
everything
and
you
I
need,
get
everything
right.
about
And when
them
you
is
give
on
a
that
when
surface
you
level.
actually are able to give a character humanity like that, I realize it's like an esoteric thing. But then even if you don't relate to the characters fully because of their circumstances, like the humanity is a thing that's like your tie to them, right?
yeah, you can relate to them because you're a human.
And
so are
again,
they.
it's like to me
So
a failure in screenwriting when we spend 40 minutes with these characters and you can't find that.
Well, you can't make it messy and human if the whole thing is about the purity of the love and the doubt, like that can't even be doubted or critiqued in any way, because then, you know, that's not pure love anymore. If you're thinking in a relationship, it's not pure love anymore. It's absurd. This movie is both too much and not enough, which is a weird way. Like, it's weird to
such a
be
good
able
way
to
to
do
put it.
those things at the same time.
Well, it boils back to that they put all the. It feels like they put all the effort into those action scenes we got and forgot about the effort on the rest of it.
Yeah.
Well, I would have like just cut out there. I was going to make the point that if we just replace the FK Twigs character, the Shelley character, with a dog, you know, that's the purest love of all. I think. Eric.
I was thinking that is the funny thing about John Wick is like it's kind of an easy ask for you to be like he should avenge his dog. Like it's easier
also
than
like
a human,
a joke
to be honest.
to a certain
Yeah.
extent. I think it's like
No,
a
no, I
little
get
tongue
you,
in cheek
for sure.
So, but yeah,
It's just bad.
yeah.
It's like I would call this movie butt, which is something I haven't said in a little while.
Yeah. This is a bad set. This is a
It's
bad,
a bad
long
set.
set.
It's so boring. Like the first time, because I was doing some things, but the first time that I took a break was before he even dies. The first time, I was like, I gotta step away from this shit.
Yeah.
I was mostly laying down when I watched it, so that made it easier.
Oh, that would have put my ass right to sleep. Oh my god.
I do think one of the pacing, so back to this superhero point, I think one of the pacing issues is when they're making this movie, and this goes all the way back to the where I started at the beginning. They're thinking about like, ooh, what about Crow 2 and Crow 3? Like Bill Skarsgård's got to come back. So you like the Batman example you gave, they do all this build-ups because then they're like, just wait till number 2. That one's where the action really you get to start right from the action. But it's like no one wants to fucking see that movie now.
So
good job, guys.
What I'm saying is, Brett, I get the kind of screenwriting conundrum they're in because I don't think superhero films work when you don't give an origin. Like I think that was a huge part of like the problem with like Zack Snyder's Batman shit was like, I get it, it's Batman. Do we need it? But give me something. Like you join that timeline so deep into it, you're like, what the fuck? Like, okay.
Yeah.
None of that.
I've never seen it.
But that's the real conundrum.
My point
here
is,
too.
you have to do something, but it doesn't have to take up this much of the movie.
Well, I think they kind of write themselves in a box too because of the nature of the character. I understand wanting to have that dark superhero thing, but in today's superhero world, it's all about sequels and franchises. Whereas the Crow, you can't do that because of the base element of the story, because it's all about his undying love for her. Now this one, she gets to come back, so maybe he could come back to Avenger if something else happens to her down the line, but otherwise
Somebody cuts her off in traffic and he rises out of limbo again.
But otherwise, he's in hell, and there's nothing he can do. So what are how are they going to bring him back? It's going to be silly to bring him back, or they bring back somebody else.
I was in heck while watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. At one point, I was joking. I was like, I'm going to love this movie if it actually has the balls to get him, like, torn apart and sent to hell at the end. Of course, that didn't happen. But they made it sound like he couldn't come back. But the movie ends with him just, like, walking away down the street. Like, they can't date anymore? Okay, but he's still around. So where are the consequences for...
He's around.
What you couldn't see is they took his penis away. Oh. He's smooth down there now.
That's
eternal life.
The worst
but,
heck.
Nothing doing down there.
Now, one thing I couldn't remember for sure, Rachel, in the original, was Eric's makeup supernatural, or was that just his rocker makeup that he decided to paint that on when he got his superpowers?
I think he puts it on, but it's been, like I said, it's been decades since I've seen it. But I feel like there's like a scene in front of a mirror after he rises from the dead.
That's kind of what I vaguely remember too, and I couldn't remember that. So if that's the case, the idea of like when he puts on his makeup when he finally gets his crow powers here, I kind of like that change up where it was this weird dark blood that was coming out of him that he was using and whatnot.
I thought
that
it was
kind
tattoo
of
ink. That was his blood.
At some point, Cronus told him his blood was black. I didn't realize if it was tattoo ink.
That's when he like becomes the full crow. Is when he basically trades his soul.
Goes
and
full
like,
crow.
Semi decent job of the fake tattoos. I thought they were okay. On a scale of like realness.
Not my style, but it's Bill Skarsgård.
You guys aren't going to get the laugh or cry now, cry later tattoo.
Yeah. What was the one over his eye? I was like, I can't.
Skarsgård.
Yeah, it was just like great.
Skarsgård 5.
Are you guys familiar with Sting the wrestler and his connection to the Crow?
No, I just know he looks like the Crow.
I didn't know about his connection, but
they
I know he painted
like
his face.
WCW in like 1997, there was this whole storyline where he gets betrayed.
Yeah.
And then he responds to it by showing up the next week. He had been slowly growing his hair out and stopping dyeing it blonde anyway, so it was long and black. And he came out like the next week in a black trench coat and white face paint and a baseball bat, and basically was just being the Crow essentially.
Yeah.
And for
that lasted a good 5
full
years.
year, didn't say a word. And he would show up to like WCW Nitro and just like hang out in the rafters, or he'd sit in the nosebleeds or something and just lurk. And then every once in a while, after like a couple months, if something was good, he might like drop into the ring and like clear everyone out with his baseball bat. But he didn't say a word, and it was like the most popular gimmick in wrestling for like a full year.
That's crazy.
Oh, he did that face paint up until he retired.
He still to this day.
He just
wears
retired, right?
Yeah, he never went. But he never went back to the old Sting.
Yeah,
because before that he was like a California.
He went full Crow.
Dude.
Yeah,
never came back. All right. Would you recommend this movie, Rachel?
I mean, if like me, you need something in the background to while you're making other things, sure. But if you to watch, no, no.
Casey,
No, go watch Boy Kills World instead.
Jonathan.
I was gonna say on YouTube, you could probably just find that opera scene.
Probably.
There you
And
go.
you don't need the
Yeah.
rest of the movie. Like none of it matters at that point. So.
So what you want to do is you want to go until about 35 minutes left, and that's where the good murdering starts.
But then it stops after like
Yeah, but
20
then you-
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah,
once
not
that's
the
over,
final
talking.
act,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
penultimate act.
Ugh.
Yeah, once that's
All
over,
the
you're
best
good.
movies, always have their climax halfway through the movie.
20 minutes before the movie ends. Yeah, for sure. All right, yeah, I'm also going to say no, but I'm with John. Like, if you're curious, just tune in the last scene. It's what it could have
Number
been.
scene's
I feel
good.
like.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
And we're back.
Eric, I have an important Patreon announcement.
Please.
So, we get an email anytime there's a new patron.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like, we're not getting like, look, we would love for more patrons. We're very happy for the patrons we have. And, there's like, every once in a while we get an email. It's like, oh, you got a new patron. And some, there's like things you got to do. New email comes through this week. Deborah Schnars, new patron. That's
that?
right. Otherwise known as my mother.
Oh no,
And,
that's adorable.
well, what was crazy, she literally texted me. I actually need to text her back. I mean,
Does
we
she
text,
listen?
So we text all the time, me and my mom. It's mostly about the Phillies. She texted me like
That's
last
amazing.
week, and she's like, "Hey, Dad and I just listened to your podcast. It's pretty good." I like literally.
We're
I can't
approaching 18 years.
Well, and I can't remember what I was doing that I didn't like call her immediately and go, "What are you talking about?" I was like in a meeting or I don't know. It like came through and it went more or less unremarked upon. And then I saw she signed up for Patreon, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on right now. Like this is craziness. So, Mom, if you're listening, hey, thanks.
Amazing.
I immediately
Mom.
regret like 5 things I've said just this night alone. Now that I know that Mama
she
Schnars is in the
at-
building.
The important thing, John, is she at the highest tier?
No, lowest tier. She's at the $1 tier. Look, she just wants to know. She wants me to know she supports the show, and I appreciate
Wow.
it.
And she can
Supportive
come hang on
parents.
Slack.
Couldn't be me.
I don't know that you can get on Slack at her tier. My mom.
Yeah, I think anybody gets Slack. I don't know. No,
I
know the
don't. Well,
answer to that.
I'm pretty sure not. We can check the patrons on Patreon for that. No, my mom is like pretty down to clown with some horror. Like I believe she took my sister to see Freddy versus Jason like in the theater
Nice.
when my sister was like in high school. So, she knows her way around. We showed her one of my favorite memories of all time. It was like Christmas 2002 or something. So I'm like home from college. We're all like sitting around. Everyone's like drinking a little. It's like the night of Christmas or whatever. And I'm like, guys, let's watch They Live. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you guys have never seen They Live. My mom's like 3 glasses of wine in. She is losing her mind. But she's just like, what is happening in this movie? Right? It's still one of my favorite Christmas memories.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me she's like way into it.
Well, no, she was like enjoying it. She was like, what is like? She just like could not process this movie.
Was it the alleyway fight over the
Yeah,
sunglasses?
like 15-minute fight scene. I mean, that movie's fucking crazy, just to be clear. So
It is.
it's great.
That's
It's like
hilarious.
one of my faves, but oh my god.
I don't think my mom still understands what a podcast is.
Same. Same.
John, I would like to remind people that my new album is out.
Oh yeah.
It's called Ghost. You can find it anywhere you stream music, John. I don't know anything about Apple Music, but I know it's on there. It's on Deezer, It's
Oh,
on Tidal.
Huge in
all those
France,
things I
Deezer.
know no one who uses, but it's on it.
Eric,
And
I
also
actually
Spotify.
I meant to text you about this. I don't know if you saw this news story, but have you considered writing a program that like creates a bunch of Spotify accounts and just streams your music nonstop to steal a bunch of money from Spotify?
You know what's
Hey.
funny is they make you the service that I use to get onto all those stores makes you like sign a thing that's like you're not gonna do this.
Yeah. Well, did you see this was like a pretty big story in the news. A guy got arrested and stole $12 million. He made $12 million. He wrote
Doing this?
Yeah, well, so what he did is he wrote a program.
Eric, get
that
on it.
used, or whatever. He wrote a
Jesus
program.
Christ.
He used like shitloads of different technology, but he had AI making all these songs, and then he had a different AI that was creating all these accounts and like listening to them across all the different services. So none of the songs like ever got like a lot of listens, but he basically spread like millions and millions of listens around 10,000 songs or something. And there's like there's the indictment has all of the track names and all of the artist
just
names, which
nonsense?
are all AI generated. Yeah, and they're just like, it's like complete nonsense.
So how do you think he got caught? Because he just got greedy and went too hard? Like, do you think he could have stayed under the radar if it was less money?
So yeah, I mean, they're like probably at some level, yes. I didn't even get that deep into it. But yeah, I think they probably started to like surface like, hey, we're cutting a check to these. That's like the choke point, right? Is like where the checks have to get cut, and at some point, someone's going to notice,
Someone's
like,
gonna look, yeah.
yeah, like, hey, there's the same address on like, or the same
I did
bank
get a check
account.
once for $30.
Nice. Well, there you go.
It's mostly from Spotify.
Yeah. I'll find this story for you and send it to you guys.
$30, which these days will get you like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that'll pay for your Spotify for like 2 months.
Sick. That hurt my feelings a little bit, John, because when you said, "Oh, guess what?" I thought you were going to tell me you listened to my album.
No, I forgot that it came out, but I'm gonna open it up and I'll save it right now.
Wow. Just
What?
doubled right down.
I'm just-
Step on those
come on.
feelings.
I'm firing
Not
it
only
up.
did he not listen, he forgot it existed.
No, we talked about it last
In fact,
week.
who are you? Have we met before?
You can find it under Hi-Fi, HY-FY. It's also on Instagram. You can add like the tracks to your posts on Instagram. You do have to search Hi-Fi and then put Ghost in order to see it because they don't like me on their search algorithm. So I've been getting lots of awesome people reaching out, supporting and sharing, and appreciate everyone who's listened. And I've also had a couple people reach out to me asking about Bandcamp because they want to like support. I kind of stopped using Bandcamp because it's just a little tedious to manage like multiple releases. But I do have my PayPal on my Spotify if somebody feels like. No pressure, but I've had a couple people ask, so yeah.
This musician's name was Michael Smith. I think that was the other giveaway. They were like, "That's not a real name." I'm sorry. Clearly.
Brilliant, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm never in the forefront of some scheme.
I wish my brain worked that way.
I know. I always get jealous.
I never can think of like some sly hustle.
Yeah.
I'm just too freaking honest. It's disgusting. I'll never get ahead.
I'm
never
not
gonna
honest,
retire.
I'm just not smart enough.
You're never gonna get full crow with that behavior.
Yeah, I'm not.
Right?
I'm not smart or motivated enough. It has nothing to do with honesty. So anyway, no email this week, Casey. Check out my album. It's called Ghost.
All right. We got a couple threads out there this week. First one from our buddy, the drummer from Foghat, also from Metal Prof. Quick question for the panel. Why?
Yeah, so I guess we're just gonna read this one. We don't have to read everyone else's because there's lots of them. Because listen, I mean, people are joking, probably, but like these are the best shows. These are I have the most fun in these shows, and I like
Okay.
torturing John. That's the other answer.
Just to hear him do the synopsis alone, like I would sit through 2 hours of this movie.
Demon crime lord, like
That's
Like,
the
is
name of the
that-
next album.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That sounds AI generated. Like, is a demon crime lord a demon who does regular human crime, or is he a crime lord who does demon crime?
So he's a demonic crime lord. So he's a crime lord, but with demonic tendencies.
With like a hint of
Yeah.
Demonish.
Yeah,
He's down with
Demonish,
demon. He knows.
makes sense.
And that's your rap album.
There you go. Down with demon.
Down with demon.
Yeah.
Ugh.
right.
I will tell you, I had multiple people inquire about Speak No Evil
Me
to the point where I
too.
feel like I'm gonna have to see it. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it. Yeah. The reviews are good.
I guess I would
And-
do it over a video where I can like stop it and walk away.
Yeah.
The feedback I got is that they've done enough, and it definitely does not.
I've
end
heard the
same
third
way.
act is a little different.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No,
it
I
has
think
Hunky McAvoy.
it's dude. He's so
Very
jacked.
a lot.
So jacked.
I'm aware.
McAvoy, like,
He's having comfortable again. You know?
yeah. It's
But
I
maybe
think
we
they
should-
do. There's more like gender stuff, is what I was told. There's more like alpha and beta male.
Oh,
you
good,
know.
that's what I want.
type-
Oh, Lord.
dear.
Maybe
Oh,
we
dear.
can catch it on video like before the end of the
Yeah,
year.
it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
I'll put it
on
on the
the
list
list.
for. Okay.
All right, we got another word of sympathy from Ryan Tehan. Oof, I'm so sorry. Your sacrifice has not gone unnoticed.
We did
Thank
it
you,
so
Ryan.
you don't have to.
We got
Exactly.
you,
For our service.
Honestly, it was better than going out to the haunted theater again this week.
Hey, that was the motto of the old Cinema Fromage blog. We watch crap so you don't have to. All right, and finally, Popcorn Designs. Do you have a favorite Halloween decoration you put up every year?
No, because my favorite stuff I leave out year round. But I do exclusively pretty much put up stuff from either Walmart or the dollar store. I really like cheap like cardboard little things I can just pin up, or like you can't see it, but I have like window clings back here. That's kind of the vibe I'm into. I can't spend money on decorations that I put up for like a month out of the year.
Yeah.
So just a little something cheesy to set the mood, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Again, file under I will never retire. I will die in the seat, like in front of my computer. Yes, I have lots of Halloween decorations that I put up for 1 month a year. In fact, I just bought some more this weekend. There's like this artist who every year she does like weird little spooky things, and I buy all of her stuff. So I've got all these like hand painted pumpkins, and I just got some like over the garden wall art that she did this year that I'm gonna put up. So then I have a lot of spooky cats. Surprise, surprise.
I don't have one in particular that's like my favorite, but the most memorable is we got it a few years ago, and this is one that actually gets put away with the other decorations. But it's a severed head on the end of a steak. It's all plastic and everything, but it was made by Don Post Studios, so his name is Don Post because he is on a post.
I get it.
I live in an apartment, so we don't have shit around here.
Not even in the chalet.
We'll get some pumpkins probably.
I think I talked about it last year, but then people across the street here go so they're retired. All they do is mow their lawn and decorate their house for literally every fucking holiday. Like Arbor Day is probably the only one they don't do. And so they put out all the shit, and then my kids are like, you know, when we do, I decorate. I'm already decorated for Halloween, but it's like, then they'll be like, why can't we put stuff outside? And I literally last year was like, because I want to decorate for me and not spend a bunch of money and decorate for everyone else. And I always love the irony of like they spend so much time in their house and they look at my completely undecorated house every day.
Dude, you don't
Honestly,
know
it
what it
sounds-
looks like in there.
Honestly, it sounds like you live next door to my parents. That is my mom, 100%.
I
Yeah,
just
shit
to me it
gets
looks very
stolen
depressing and
immediately.
Sisyphusian. Like just literally like every Monday they're doing the lawn, then they're doing this. The guy's working on the car. I'm like, man, don't you guys have fucking hobbies? Like Jesus Christ.
That is the
I
hobby.
guess
That is the
the
hobby.
They're
That makes me
celebrating.
want to
They,
kill myself.
they want
Now
to.
that-
They're making it for you. They know. They got a
I don't
creeper
fucking
across
care,
the
though,
street,
so
so.
I'm not wasting-
Oh yeah, my parents will fight if my dad mows the yard before my mom. She will fight him. That's her like moment of zen.
Jesus, can you send them my way? I've got like a jungle in the front yard.
Oh, she's got like 4 acres and she mows it all on the mower. She'll just disappear for a few hours in the afternoon, comes back and she's all happy again.
Wow.
All right, that's it for threads, Eric.
Oh,
Yeah, you.
I'm up.
My mom does have a shed specifically for decorations in the backyard too,
That's
because they
awesome.
had overflow.
Oh yeah. I've seen a place like that. All right, let's see. We got so many questions. Half of them are why. Here's PJ. I joke with PJ that he's my Waluigi because we have just opposite opinions on literally everything, and he likes to troll me on them.
Oh, jeez. Did he like
But-
this one?
He writes back, "The original Crow sucks just as bad as this one." There, I said it. And I just wrote back, "Okay, Waluigi." I haven't seen it, so I
Waluigi's
can't actually.
Waluigi's my favorite Mario character. So
Really
yeah,
fascinating piece of Schnorr's lore. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Emprezia says OST for the original Crow movie is an underrated classic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so good. I literally
There-
listened to it today because of this. It
There
stands
is
up.
some
It's
like
so good.
original music in this film that I liked. That's decent, but there's also a lot of licensed stuff. That's like
Yeah.
some odd choices in there. I feel like, and they just cut to like music videos several times in the movie. Like half of this
Yeah.
movie is him walking to a licensed track. He's just walking.
Yeah. I think they're trying to like recreate sort of the magic because like it was
vibe,
that
yeah.
soundtrack was a big deal when it came out.
it was huge.
It's so good.
It was a different time. Like there were big soundtracks a lot back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was that one movie that had all the soundtrack was all the rock bands teaming up with rappers?
Judgment Night.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
that one was a classic too.
Holy shit.
That's an era that I know everything about.
Yeah.
I've seen enough behind the music. What from Grimbo Dicky, was FK Twigs even awake during this film?
Thank you.
I mean,
That was kind of my
I
opinion.
don't think anyone was, honestly.
I just like I don't know that she was acting. Like is that what I just assume that's like a version of what she's like her like performer character, you know? But I don't know that much about her.
Blob Nelson, where can we find the best mullet in a horror movie?
Ooh, that's a good question. That would take some research.
I responded to this with a still from Ernest Scared Stupid because there's a kid in that with a really shitty.
I was gonna say, Eric, there's got to be across
Does
the
anybody
Friday
have a
the
mullet in
13th
Tucker
universe.
and Dale? Yeah,
I don't
is there a
think
good
so.
Friday the 13th mullet. That's a great.
Well,
Actually,
like the enchiladas guy, right?
yes, Miguel Nunez Jr.
Like, yeah.
has a
I'm giving it to him.
killer mullet. Yeah, that's,
Oh
That's the
yeah.
one. That's the one.
that's a good pull. He's got the same mullet in Return of the Living Dead. Same era, same year, actually,
Yeah.
potentially.
Don't like half the characters in Near Dark have mullets?
I don't remember. I've only seen it that one time for the show.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Really?
don't know. I don't think
no,
so.
I don't know.
Like
There's
maybe
just a
the
lot
kid.
going on.
No, not the kid. Did Lance?
Lance had the long greasy hair going. I
Yeah.
don't think it was a mullet.
I think
Maybe
I
that
don't
was
think
just-
there were mullets
Okay.
in that one. I mean, that's why it's so timeless. Like
That's true.
the
You're right.
score and the lack of mullets.
Well, it just I figure it comes back every 10 years when the mullet comes back.
I mean, it was deep in the mullet era. That's what I'm saying. It was trailblazing with its lack of mullets. There was no party out back. It was all business all the time.
Yeah, I'm looking at what's it called? Lost Boys. Not really mullets
Nah.
either.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, well, what's his name?
Bill S. Preston.
Kiefer Sutherland has an
Yeah.
epic
Kiefer's got,
mullet in that.
Spike.
Kiefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Spike
like
mullet.
spiky and then like
And so does Bill,
Totally.
like, or Bill from Bill and Ted, whatever his character is in that, also has like a curly mullet, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
you're
that thing is
right.
wall to wall mullet. It's like the saxophone guy. That is a
Wow.
mullet.
that's like that guy basically.
Hell, I think
you know,
Jamie Gertz might have
dropped
a
the
mullet
mic
in that
on
movie.
mullet.
I'd have to go reference.
I got
I
beat
feel
in
like she
fantasy
kind of had
football.
a mullet in Twisters too, or
She
Twister
might
too.
be. She's a top
She had,
5
like, that
80s
cobra
crush for
hair.
me. I'm not
So
gonna say it's
saxophone
number
guy
one.
looks like his hair
Really?
is actually just long and pulled back into a ponytail.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
Jamie Gertz in like less than 0.
But he's got it all going on though. Otherwise,
Interesting. That doesn't.
I got beat in fantasy football last week by an
Jive.
11-year-old with a righteous
We'll take it offline, Rachel.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll talk about it on Signal.
I wasn't as broken then, you know.
Yeah.
Next up from Michael, F. Mary Kill, Bill Alexander or Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh,
This is a good one.
Stellan's the
I-
old one, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you marry
He's a
him because
Mary.
that's stability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you kill Bill because I think he might legitimately be not Bill. You kill Alexander
Alexander.
because I think I get psycho vibes from him. I think he's a legitimate psychopath.
What are you getting on Bill then? Because
you
I don't know.
bang Bill because like, he's the young one. It's like a stallion, John.
I guess that's fair. I don't know.
yeah. I think I'm gonna bang Bill for obvious reasons. I'm going to marry Alexander because he seems like he would. Yes, it may result in like a murder suey, but before then, we're gonna have a really great time. He seems funny and light, and whatever. And
I
then
have
don't.
never heard the shortening murder suey before.
You're welcome.
Might have been a little
Just a quick murder
suey, but,
schmurder.
I
but
mean,
counterpoint though, if you marry Stellan, he probably dies. Not like he's gonna die, and you're gonna get that money.
I would
cat.
like to
Is
have
that what
sex
marriage
with
is about
Alexander
for you, Eric?
Skarsgård as many times as physically possible.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean,
Casey's
his
entire
femurs
shot
are so
was just
long.
taken over by vape.
Femurs.
They're just so long.
Is that a thing for you, femur?
Just settle down on the femurs.
Yeah, I have
there.
a little bit of a femur fetish.
Interesting.
Apparently.
They're so long.
Love the villain in the original. Agree.
name?
He
The
was in
landlord?
Nope, too.
Yeah, and also
was he
Robin
in?
Hood,
Nope.
Prince of Thieves. He's the guy he's the like Quinn character that shows up and like does the purple people eater speech.
The
Nope.
camera guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
2 more questions. First up, I'm actually going to change this question because I'm curious, Rachel. So it was a question about this being like the
no.
most emo goth movie ever made. Now I'm just wondering, like, what are other good gothy movies from the 90s? The first thing that came to my mind was The Craft.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, yes.
It's more like a
we're
witchy vibe.
Specifically 90s.
Return of
Witchy
the
goth. There's a
Return of the
van.
Living Dead 3, I believe, is the one where she's like
That's where there's like BDS. Yeah, she's like.
pier-
I mean, if we can
piercing-y
extend
and-
it to the 80s, I would say The Hunger. That's a big one. It has the Bauhaus
never saw
opening.
that.
Bowie. Oh, man.
Oh yeah, that's a
Or
good
no,
one.
wait.
No, I
we
think you
did.
guys
That's the one
watched
where
it on the
Bowie's
show.
a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did do that. We did that on the show.
Yeah, Catherine Deneuve. Like, that's peak sort of like goth
Yeah, it's very
horror
good.
for me.
Man, I think I said this in the show, but I showed my kids Labyrinth, and they loved it. But they had so many questions about David Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
I
yeah.
I showed my kids
Pod-
like not that long ago because you were talking about it, Eric, and they're pretty into it. I found Emily, the youngest one, she was watching it again the other day because she watches like on the iPad. She'll just like fire up something she's seen recently. She likes to.
My favorite character in that
Revisit
whole
stuff.
movie is like in at the end of the first act. It's the little worm with the Australian accent.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Hello.
character. Mark and I used to just text each other. Nope, just a worm, like all the time.
So we went to the Fathom event and watched that, and that Matilda admitted to me that she's sexually attracted to that worm.
I can't believe you outed her.
Of course I did.
Matilda's my favorite.
I
I
know.
love her.
Oh my god.
That's the best.
Well, he's a family man, right?
I get it though, not with the worm necessarily, but I get just randomly being like, it's like
Yeah.
that meme, like, hear me out,
Yeah.
the worm from the line. Why don't you come inside, have a cup of tea with the
Yeah,
missus?
she's about it.
It's a Matilda thing. All right, most important question of the evening, John. Would Hi-Fi ever do a Crow soundtrack? Because the new album is fire.
Yay!
A listener of the mail cover, John.
You should watch the first one for inspiration and see if something comes out of it.
That's right. I did make in 2022, I think it came out. I made like a concept soundtrack album called The Bloody Pit. That's like a full length album that I'm pretty proud of. That turned out
Dude,
pretty cool.
I think that I like this idea of like watch the first movie and then make like a fake sequel soundtrack.
So I
It's
just
like
did that, but not with a movie,
colon,
like any
you know.
movie. Like I basically called it a soundtrack, and I even on the Apple Store it's labeled as a soundtrack. Even though they're like, "Don't do this if it's not a soundtrack," and I was like, "You can't stop me."
I mean, The Crow is spooky and sad, which is the whole hi-fi vibe.
That's my
So,
vibe. Yeah.
I know.
You guys were meant to be together. like Eric
and
and
Crow.
Shelley.
Yeah. Just like a couple of just sweaty, smelly looking addicts.
Mm-hmm.
So much sweat and like not enough hand washing, I feel like, in their romance. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh God.
That's how you get a UTI, John. All right. HY-FY on Spotify. Everywhere you get your music. Appreciate everybody who checked it out. Next week, I guess we're doing The Substance. I'm going to have to figure out how to get to the...
Yeah, I was actually looking. So Substance comes out, and so does Never Let Me Go or Never Let Go.
That's
which-
going to get a
what's
wider
that?
release. Yeah, that's going to get
That's
a wider
the one
release.
with Halle Berry. It's like the fake M. Night movie.
And it's like Aja, what's his face, right?
Yeah, it is Alexander Aja, I think.
That's it.
I know.
Alexander Aja.
I'm feeling like I maybe saw something on this, but I got nothing.
I'm almost
No
positive
recall.
we've talked about the trailer. So then the week after that, just so because we're in the spooky season now, that is Azrael is coming out the week after, so September 27th.
Azrael Abyss.
That movie looks fucking cool. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but it looks really cool.
It looks like we actually are going to have an open week though the week after because Joker's coming out, and I think they're just kind of sort of like clearing the decks a little bit. So we can probably get to 2 out of those 3 if we want.
Okay.
If we want to hit theaters. But yeah.
Sounds good to me. All right, y'all.
Cool.
That's going to do it for Bloody Good Horror. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.